That changed in the 1970s. Since then, it's been from the point of view of producing things that people need, it's becoming a stagnant or deindustrializing society. It's a huge change. The economy shifted from production for needs to financialization, a huge explosion of speculative capital flows. And along, production didn't cease, it was just began to be offshored to Mexico, China, Vietnam, anywhere, any place where you can get horrendous working conditions, no environmental constraints, huge profit for the masters. It had happened before, but it went into a completely new level starting in the 70s. Within the United States, that set off kind of a vicious cycle. It led pretty quickly to greater concentration of wealth. The more or less egalitarian growth of the 50s and the 60s changed. Concentration of wealth leads reflexively to concentration of political power. Adam Smith's maxim again about the masters of mankind and how they're architects of policy. The concentration of wealth increasingly in the financial sector. Concentration of political power, of course, translates right away into legislation, which carries the process forward. Fiscal policies like cutting taxes for the wealthy, deregulation, which permits the financial institutions to do the kinds of things you know about, subprime mortgages and so on, leads right away to regular financial crises. Through the 50s and the 60s, when New Deal legislation was in place, there were no financial crises. Starting in the early 70s, they began, each one worse than the next. They're a problem for the population. They're no problem for the masters because they can rely on the nanny state that they nurture to bail them out. That means the taxpayer to bail them out. Happens time after time. It sets off a doom loop. That's what it's called by the official of the Bank of England, who's responsible for financial stability. The leading financial correspondent in the English-speaking world, the most respected one, Martin Wolf of the Financial Times, no radical incidentally. Now, he describes the financial institutions as an out-of-control financial sector that's eating out the modern market economy from inside, just as the larva of a spider wasp eats out the host in which it's been laid. And it continues, and it's getting worse. As this vicious cycle continues, it does leave a superfluous population, namely producing the workforce.